Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like things just got really interesting for Sony's 2024. And this comes from a reveal today that there will indeed be a new PlayStation 5 model or revision for holiday 2023. And the reason this becomes very interesting for next year with Sony is because there have been reports for quite a while around this revision, as well as the PlayStation Portal and one other system from Sony. And it's looking more and more likely that that will indeed be the case next holiday. We're going to go over all of this, though, here today. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new here to the SpawnWave Plus channel. Now, I will be covering all of the details in Newswave tomorrow morning, and there is quite a bit to go over with the revision for the PlayStation 5 when it comes to pricing, options, release, everything. But I did at least want to take a look at the console itself here because there are some, I think, interesting changes. For example, on the front now, there are two USB-C ports instead of a USB-C and a USB-A. There are two USB-A ports on the back of the system. However, one of these, I believe it's the one here at the bottom that's labeled is like super speed. I believe it's 10 gigabits per second. The other one is a more standard speed for the USB-C. But the thing that I do like about this is they have separated the power button right here and the eject button. Now that, of course, is if you have the disk drive enabled system. You can either get the digital one and then upgrade to that by buying the attachment, or just buy it bundled completely together. But that is something that even still kind of gets me to this day, is remembering which button on the front of the PS5 is that eject button. So it is good to separate it, and technically that means it is just on the disk drive, which is not common, I'll say, for most systems. Usually it's part of like the motherboard or something there. I also noticed that the top plastic is glossy. I don't know who in these companies keep saying it's a good idea to put glossy plastic on consoles or controllers, but they need to just stop. We need to figure out who's doing it at these different companies. The good news is Sony already said that there will be options available for different shells and covers that you can replace these with, and they did mention an all matte black option, as well as like red and blue and stuff like that. So there will at least be things we can buy to kind of replace this glossy plastic that will get scratched and scuffed, and it'll just look terrible in probably like a week or two. It happens pretty quick. Just dust will end up scratching the thing up. But if we move from here, we can see how the disk drive attaches. This is I guess just a rendering that Sony released here. And it is as simple as I was kind of hoping, that being you remove the side panel, and it looks like it has two hooks, almost like little feet here in the front, that will latch on, and then I assume so it sits in, and then it just pushes down in the back, where it will attach, I figure, to a port back here that is standing up vertically, so then it just clicks into place. Now, I am curious how the disk drive will react when it's spinning a disk, because as you know, and some of you may have PS5 disk-enabled systems now, the disk drive, when it spins, you can definitely hear it, and that just ends up being vibration on the plastic, okay? And I'm looking at here, I mean, a separate piece that will have probably space between it that could potentially be even louder. I assume this cutout here is a spot where on the bottom of this maybe has some sort of gasket or foam or something that will essentially sit in there and maybe help to dampen some of that vibration. But that is a big thing to keep in mind. Oh, and we can also see the little eject button right here. I do like the idea of them at least offering this as an option so that they're not completely throwing away the physical market, although I do believe this is a step in that direction. Like 2028, when we assume the PlayStation 6 will come out, they might just get rid of physical media completely, but I still think it works in Sony's favor to have a disc drive, since they do Blu-ray and all this, and they play into the bigger picture of Sony, which is the home theater setup that, I mean, the best quality you can get and really take advantage of those $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 TVs that Sony will sell at the high end. You want an ultra high def Blu-ray player for it. But this does fall in line with the leaked shell that we saw pop up online just a couple of months ago, where a person seemed to be in the factory and was just kind of looking around this PlayStation 5 revision shell. And yeah, it does appear that that was the case, as well as for the PlayStation Portal. That was another thing that appeared seemingly in the factory. So we have now this revision, we have this PlayStation Portal, and to me, it really comes back to this original reporting from Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming, where he named all these devices. And at the time, it sounded really weird, especially the PlayStation Portal. That was one we were hearing about. We're like, really? Sony's going to do this weird like remote play device that apparently just looks like a tablet with a DualSense controller cut in half and pasted on either side. Yeah, that's what they're doing. In fact, it's coming out here in a month. And then we also have now this revision that seemed like it wasn't coming out this year, and now, oh yeah, it is. It's coming out in November. They just decided to announce it a month before release. Now, the other device that was mentioned in that original reporting is the PlayStation 5 Pro. And I remember posing the question to some of the people on the podcast when we first started hearing about the potential for this mid-gen refresh. It's like, well, if the PlayStation Portal ends up being a thing and this PlayStation 5 revision ends up being a thing, should we then err on the side that the PlayStation 5 Pro is a thing, because 2/3 of that report ended up being correct? And pretty much everyone agreed, yeah, if we get to that scenario, I mean, I would assume that a PS5 Pro is indeed coming out holiday 2024. And here we are. So I feel like a PlayStation 5 Pro is coming out next year. I'm just now trying to figure out how Sony is going to position the thing and how they'll market it. I feel like at this point, Sony is just releasing hardware now to build up this PlayStation 5 family, where everything around it kind of relies on that device, whether it's these newer earbuds or headphones that are fairly expensive or PlayStation Portal. It all comes back to their PlayStation 5 console. The PS5 Pro will just be adding another SKU on top of it that also plays in more to the high-end market. And apparently, from what we've been hearing, it looks like a lot of it will have to do with 8K gaming, sure, but also just improved ray tracing, which still appears to be a weak point currently for either the Xbox Series or the PlayStation 5. Both of them can do ray tracing. They just can't necessarily do it very well. So I feel like most people now just turn it off and opt for performance mode. So this would be the case of, hey, if you pay potentially $550, $600 even, you can get that 4K 60 experience with ray tracing. Again, though, $600 system might not even have a disk drive. This might be their path to getting it out there at that price and just allow people who want the Blu-ray drive to buy it separately. But certainly some interesting stuff to look forward to in 2024 from Sony. However, with this PlayStation 5 revision like a month away, I will be picking one up and we'll tear it down. We'll take a look at how the disk drive functions and how easy it is to actually attach it, and apparently some other accessories that Sony is releasing, which includes a vertical stand. Kind of reminds me of the old days with the PlayStation 2, actually. But let me know what you guys think about all of this down below with the PS5 revision and ending up being correct with those leaks that we saw get out there, as well as the potential for a PS5 Pro in 2024. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.